Anna from Evoca, and in this video we'll be continuing on with the creation of our teeth. So now that we've got the one solid shape, we can go in and we can tweak some of these vertices to make sure that the shape is correct, so that there's no clipping between the teeth. So where there's vertices like this one here, we can pull that in and make sure that they're not actually clipping in on itself, and it's just adjusting the overall shape so that there are separate teeth. Then it'll all just one blob. They're just stuck on a gum. So there we go. Just modifying each of these shapes and making sure that the tooth curves inward on the inside of the mouth and outward on the outside. It's going to be easier to do on the bottom viewport. So I'm just going to bring this in a bit. Just to adjust the width of the teeth so as they would be in real life. They gradually get fatter towards the back. And again, just having it curve in on the inside of the mouth. Just fattening up this molar here a little bit, just shaping it a little bit more before it goes into the big molars at the back of the mouth. So just having a look from a distance. It's always good to pull back every now and then to get the overall shape, so we don't get focused too much on the little details. It's the bigger picture that we're concerned with at the moment. Okay, just back in the orthographic view, we can look at the overall shape again and have a look at where we need to adjust. So I'm just pulling the bottom verts up on the inside of the mouth a little bit, and then just tweaking some of the gum line as well. Okay, don't forget to save often. So I'm just putting on the turbo smooth and having a look over the overall view. And we'll continue to tweak the shape itself. So again, we're spending so much time on the top teeth because we'll be using them again for the bottom teeth, so we can just do it once. We don't have to keep doing it for the bottom as well. So get them right, and then we can use them again down for the bottom teeth. Okay, so I'm just going to bring them up on the inside just a little bit. I mean, you probably have more teeth at the front than at the back, but showing, I should say. But again, everybody's different, and this will just, I mean, it'll probably be hidden within the mouth sock anyway. So just continuing to tweak until I'm happy with the shape. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with this shape now, so I'm going to select the top edges of the inner teeth, so just these edges here, and I'll extrude out towards the center. So this is going to be the roof of the mouth, so I want to make sure that all of these vertices are 0 on the X. So just again making planar on the Z, on the X should have been, and then zeroing out in the X-axis. Then I'll select the verts and bring them up to give the curve to the roof of the mouth. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm just gonna roughly shape in the top of the mouth here. Okay, once I'm happy with that, I'm going to do an overall weld with a very small threshold to make sure that nothing has been missed, and then make sure that the smoothing groups are the same as the gum, so that when we apply the turbo smooth we get this the top of our mouth. And then we can just do some small tweaks just to even out the roof of the mouth a little bit, just pulling these back a little. Okay, so now I'm happy with the shape that I've got here. I'm going to actually clone and mirror over the teeth and attach them, and of course weld them down the center again with a very small threshold, making sure that all the verts are welded. And once I'm happy with that, I will clone them again and mirror on the Y this time, on the Z, I'm sorry, this time to create the bottom set of the teeth. So we'll reset the X form and we'll apply an FFD lattice. So this will allow us to shrink and to pull and push vertices on the hole. So just using the control points, so moving that up into position first. And then I'll use the control points and I'll be able to manipulate the shape without having to go in and doing each vert one at a time. So you can see how just using the control points, I'm using a 3x3 lattice in order to adjust the shape of the teeth. So just pulling them up in some places and pushing them down in the other places to affect the overall shape and get the shape that I need for the bottom of the mouth, the bottom set of teeth. Okay, just bringing up the bottom of the inside of the mouth. Just tweaking these a little bit more because we want them to actually look like they're touching. Once I'm happy, I'll just collapse the stack and move them into position so that they are actually touching. Don't forget to save. So I've got my incremental save on, so that just increments the save file. And we'll reset the X form for both set of teeth. Now what we'll do is we'll create the tongue. To do that, we'll start with a box. And we'll move it to the center of the grid, so zero it out on the X. And we'll position it inside the mouth. So I'm just making the teeth X-ray, and we'll adjust the length and the width, the length to 3, the width to 2, and just keep the height to 1 segment for now. And then we'll apply our editable poly and we'll shape the tongue so that it sits inside the mouth and inside the teeth. So just blocking in the shape to begin with, going into the side viewport and tapering it so that it becomes thinner at the tip of the tongue. And wider at the base. So just bringing that out and tapering it down. Once I'm happy with that, I will select the center edge here and I'll chamfer it to create a little bit more geometry in the middle. So I'm going to make a bit of a dip in the middle of the tongue. I'll collapse this one here at the tip. And I'll add an edge around in the center here so that I can bring these vertices up to create the dip in the tongue itself. I'll scale it out a little bit more. And at the bottom, what we'll do is kind of like the inverse, so we'll bring that down so that there's that little tendon or that little muscle, whatever it is, that is actually joining the tongue to the bottom of our mouth. You can see it if you look in the mirror and you stick your tongue out and up. It's that little, it looks like a little skin thing that joins the tongue to the bottom of the mouth, but it's actually quite important. If you cut that, you actually almost lose the movement of your tongue, so it makes it incredibly hard to speak. So I'm just moving it into position, so further down, so it sits at the base of the mouth a little bit more, and I'll continue to shape, so just bringing the sides down and up at the bottom here on both sides, just to give that the tongue a bit more shape. So it's not going to be anything fancy. Select these faces here and extrude. And we'll curve these back and down so it looks like it's going down into the throat. So again, nothing flash, just something there. So when she opens her mouth, it looks like there is something rather than a gaping hole. And just rotating it again and pointing it down in towards the back of the throat. We can scale these out a little bit more as well to continue the tapering effect. Just applying a turbo smooth too to have a look. Okay. Just going to deepen this recess a little bit more. Bring this in a little. So just some minor changes here. There we go. Right, so I'll just fix the smoothing groups now. And that is our teeth and tongue done. Ready to import into our model scene.